chimboris. Oda samlutan the labgor, those chene, some tangures, kache tishi gores.
That's all. And so, whether, hopefully you can all hear me, whether we can carry our afflictive emotions onto the path and actually turn them into a practice is really important. Because it's very possible that when somebody says bad words to us, something negative to us, that the effect would be for us to get upset, for us to become disturbed, upset, and have these afflictions really take over. So whether or not we know how to work with them on the path is a really important point.
Tadi ti Kurana do sundos. Gaji zala minin nasopa, sonsum capron robert jenayans, jambe semki, larian tingi, yundenjiba yalselalin, Janju Seba ina, uni Yalsi Janju Seba ina, some of the ten to gore. Supe Kazuji minin bandogina, della draru maltagine, della tadu, uni ranjinzi wandusong. Ranzi wandusong, da condeni lagiore, Kanta, the enebe lotun tinjinguna, Sandamolam, Janju Sebagi, Yabde gore, Janju Sebagi, Dino it sing about the Zolam to care to gores, the way Nisuris. Tangaranzo ina Kabut, those Kaboyore. What the Indugala, a Kabur is a Jagumar, Kazo Tupji, Janju Sebe lendo the Masona, Jegina, Molam de Japtus Jegina, Pentoyong Grace, Roa.
So, however, for the bodhisattvas, when they meet with a situation where somebody demeans them, puts them down, says negative words, they can for sure know exactly how to work with it in just this way. And as our text says, and now we're on verse number 14, if someone insulting should spread ugly rumors about us with cruel words unpleasant to hear, and even if what he has said spreads to others and gains wide acceptance as being the truth, yet out of our wish for the one who has maligned us to conquer his trouble and gain peace of mind, praise all his virtues and treat him with kindness. The sons of the Buddhas practice in this way. And the alternate translation, even if someone broadcasts all kinds of unpleasant remarks about you throughout the 3,000 worlds, in return, with a loving mind, speak of his good qualities. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. So for a bodhisattva, they can proceed with the situation in this very way. But for us, and actually then think about the harm doer, then they consider the one that has brought them harm, because bodhisattvas consider others more important than self. They even then say a prayer for this person who has caused harm, has done so out of their own upset mind, out of their own disturbing emotions. So the bodhisattva would be able to then say an aspiration, may their afflictive emotions be pacified, and they can do it in this very way. For us, this is more difficult, but it's not that we cannot do it. What we should do is we should work with this the very best we can, and we can indeed train in the way of the bodhisattvas.
Oda bhajo tinge marge nanda, ani pe minyamba kazo chilagu nanda. Di chita halya ke hamare. Sujo dini ngazo gangena maga khengi te labgu orte gangan jigil tora tangore. Nga mera tanganje ndu de tora tanganje ye sambasa chebaina kondu kya ke midos dus chine samadaina suji gile sem de tu michu ya thabse samli ko ningratane sem tu machu ina te pe misbe yabu yongores sem tu kondu che tende chebaina ani pe loban dawata ba umanju pe na karsu yorzana midu zusu jing tamba mimbati sultan sulmin namche choji jing zer sungres ngone
Las
콘트로케이나
Yankee Jackson.
미두 주수 제징 담바 멤버티 술단 술민 남저 초제징 저sun 레스 안 콘트로케이마 타도 동대 미두파 빼 동에 바시부시 차거래 동 따뜻 개발미도 앞미 까보 있난다 이시아미 있난다 미나포 있난다 동 콘트로케이다 렘상 동 타트 떨레친사 동대 규르고와 미두 제보맥인 차거래 아니 미 담바스디 개바시거래 개바지나 ngoma nebe lozur nebe kaptola be kachanging jibu shetu gor kontrozadi gala tinde kachakanga shetu go mare min namche jinjina namche dete kontroke gala ton tu go mare sulda sulme il ngoye ne sul yadu lengin jetu go mare oda tindegi gyonyorese sungore oda samlo du stane samlo ngirwa tangede be misiba kontroke로 맞죠 뉴모께로 맞죠 ngaranzu le tangbo이나 덴디시 제투이나 원에 소설 펜다요레스
Ani di mi nakpo dang mi karpo ki korla ani di drelwa nga mi kotsuma so
di
mi
kontrokedu gala mi napo inanda karpo inanda mupu inanda dong marfu chagdo as kanga dong gyurugdo as dong de po sorfu shu chagdo kontrokenge mi de dong de 당부 콘도 마케 갈라 민제부 배 닝제부 간디지나 농데 콘도 케아다 농데 배 동행 시부 차기도 미두 주수제도 어디서 그래
no and so when somebody speaks, says something negative about us, something demeaning, slander, actually what we look to do is, although they're demeaning us, we then praise them. So we then take the very one who has put us down and we speak of their good qualities. We say something positive to them. And the benefit here is that through doing this, actually, we ourselves, our minds will not become disturbed. We won't become all stirred up and upset. And actually, that's really good. That is the great benefit. And Master Chandrakirti has said in entering the middle way, to one who has spoken down to us, then we then speak up to them, speak of their good qualities. So we must, not take to mind the meaning of these, these bad words, but then rather then turn it around and speak kindly of the one who has spoken these words. And we ourselves won't get upset. When someone becomes, upset or enraged, mind disturbed, then, whether, they are of a Caucasian race or of an Asian race or African American race, if you look at the face of someone who is disturbed and upset, it then becomes like discolored and distorted, no matter what their heritage, nationality, they're then become very distorted and discolored. But when somebody rather than thinks about it in the way of the Bodhisattva, then whatever is said to someone, their mind doesn't get disturbed, and so the excellent beings, the great practitioners, whatever is said to them, it can't upset them. It won't be upsetting to them. And so this is the way we look to train with carrying negative words on the path.
와다때인데가라 맞아 셈투 미주야게 삼루 규라다네 셈투 미주에 제데 와다 내갑때 되지 되니 칼레 로 장치리니 람케르 므마데 레기 고 용에 여겨지 사대요 말아 다가서 용에 균이메게 이제 가자 똥바시기어 말했어 와 빼자되기디
So we really have to change. What we need as practitioners to do is we need to change the way we think, transform the way we think and react to situations. This is a bit of mind training that we need to engage in here, because it's not that suddenly, just out of nowhere, we will be able to react to situations like this when they come up. But rather, what we need to do is slowly, slowly train with them and work with them in a way that we can develop it. And that's what this verse here is talking about, how to actually train our minds.
다 니바데 다디 쇼로가 종아바데 싱인 남결승이 되르샤지 싱인 바저베이나 데니베 양 뇽몽 기루마주제네 아니 게베 촐라 카규레기 사무당야데 대순거레스 와 다 어디 순샤는 데인 넬로
Vaso. And then now we come to verse 15, and this is when somebody may like deride or again speak negative words about us, and how again to carry it on the path. And so, as it says in verse number 15, in the midst of a large crowd of people, someone should single us out for abuse, exposing our faults before all within hearing and pointing out clearly the flaws we still have, then not getting angry or being defensive, but just listening in silence and heeding his words. Bow in respect to this man as our teacher. The sons of Buddhas all practice in this way. And the other translation, though someone may deride and speak bad words about you in a public gathering, looking on him as a spiritual teacher, bow to him with respect. This is the practice of bodhisattvas.
어떻게 가르랍 거래 로망디비우스 가지게 산진루니 생긴 많아요 델라게베시긴 두시기 구버저베 갈살알린 시두가라 오네잖아 수 현저지거래 생긴 상루잖아 현산던데 현동인들이 현동거데 파 딜레네 파졸라 랑그 컨트롤하러 맞지네 아니 파졸라 왜 내수기 밖에 견된 것만 있나? 아니 그게 생긴 배 견도 때문에 그게 생긴 소리지라 아니 배 삼당 거 그게 생긴이 가르 그게 생긴데라 가서지 밖에 니집에나 생긴라 야로데 말합도 주고 말와 어디 때나 진짜네 삼당 구가를 순두가라 밖에 로존 시게면요 어디 때든 답은 와 로존 시게면 시가나 가래어서 되가라 라징은 베semjen기 디두트라부 너던지 린진 때단 태바이 네발가베 진진쇼 저승구도 와다 텐디게 베에
디스체 니바딜라 카츠레 아니 게실라
라
아니 디
로존 시게면
디 식체 니바
로존 시게마데 라징은 베semjen기 디두트라부 너톤세 라진 때 린젠 때르탄 태바이 네버카베 진진쇼 미 울보지를 때르쳤나 15지 가서르키 그러와 어때 되나 진짜네 라라 현저적인데라 현산 동인데라 애니페 오늘 거의 현산 동거를 공아 야보지거래 신인나 지레데 베 신인 나부질 따고 가래 어때 순거래
이는 기식적
로존 시게미티레 라징은 베semjen기 디두트라비 너톤세 린젠 때르탄 태바이 림부치 때르와 누르부단도 근데 에서당 울다 누르부참 벤두야 때기디 때르지 라비나 울부질라나 가족이 가족이 그래 어다 때나 진지 에베 현상 적은달라 오니 전주세베 로장엔지나 에네 현상 동글라 게베 생긴 타부 에베 린젠 때르나 바 녀바나지 가족이 그래서 순거래 하고서 할로 제손지
아니 린친 테르기 디 식체 디 아니 디 겨세 할로 기나 할로
야
게시 할로 게실라
야
할로 타 아니 생기두게 타
고구도 고구민데 Internet sometimes get really weak.
Oh, 거기도.
다고서
Hello. Okay, lasso.
yeah.
아니, 디 식체, 디 송백이 식체 니파 디
어데 라징엠베 semjengi didu
라라인
tapin
낭 요르베
rinchen tertan tepai rinchen
카체디
rimbuche
암청 카슈레.
la
아니, 디 gonda, 디 탄데가서 디
hello what time is now
Okay. So I don't know if you can hear me. Maybe I'll just translate. So
hello
okay. Mhm.
hello
Hello, Geshe-la. Hello. Kobidu.
Yeah.
Super Kobidu now.
lost nilapke da hakosan
Lasso.
단다디 쇼로고 종아 빠지 도와
Ani mount. Ani de partu hapofong sikche nipa ani di drawa chesong chesong di nipa di rang sikche nipa.
로종 찌게 메치르와 라징엠베 semjengi didu tape notongses rinchen tertan tepai nieparkawe chinzin sho rimbuchi terzerna ser ngul tendigi panzo yorwa
No.
rimbuchi panzo thapna mi ulbuchi la tende thona pe gasor kigirwa gabu yongurwa
So.
oda
Lasso. Okay.
tendi kyunzan chegendela
Hapofong.
oda dusro oda
Lasso. Okay, so sorry about that. I think wasn't on. So again, we're on this verse 15 that speaks about somebody pointing out our faults in the midst, to, just publicly saying negative things about us. And so when something like this happens, and somebody points out our hidden faults, what this is talking about is when somebody points out kind of like the negative things about us that we don't want anybody to know, but back to them, not retaliating in any way. Them as a spiritual teacher. Okay, good. So it's perceiving them as a spiritual. We think about our guru, our lama, somebody we consider our spiritual teacher on the path. We would never want to deride them or say anything negative about them or react negatively. So this is why we carry this perception into this, into this situation. And so this is a way of us again training our minds so we can think then there is another verse that comes later on to bodhisattvas that goes something like this: to bodhisattvas who want a wealth of virtue, those who harm are like a precious treasure. Therefore, towards all, cultivate patience without hostility. So we look at this harm doer actually as the source of a precious treasure, like a precious treasure. So if we were poor and then we found this wish-fulfilling jewel or a great valuable gem, this would fulfill all of the needs that we need to fulfill. And in the same way, we look that when somebody harms us, view them as a treasure trove, because it is through this that we actually gain our progress in our practice. And the rest cut out a little bit, but perhaps Geshe-la will go on.
다 주소가 저래도 430요. 어다 디기 어다 두스체네 간지 삼리토니 간지 뉴무 끼루마지기 탑시데 깨체쇼레스 람도 키레다 칼레 수수 로 장기 지나 간삼지는 장주 셈 귤레케 텐디지나 디조 람도 키라 라싱 길레비 용해지 자고 와레스 디 단단히 배 람도 키라 고그레스 까자데 셰고 마레스와 아니 마음바는 두스 용그린 딘디치다 두스 삼노다는 딘디지 용그리스 데 까자데 디 셰고 와레스.
And so this is a training that actually the very best way to work with our afflictive emotions. It's really the best way of training with these very negative mental states that may arise. And slowly, here and there when they come up, working in this way, then we begin to cultivate this mind of bodhicitta. And then naturally, so first we work in the beginning to actually further it and cultivate it. But in the end, what happens is this mind of bodhicitta naturally arises. And we shouldn't think that it will just naturally arise without the training. It's through the training that we will actually be able to have this bodhicitta arise.
와다 쇼로가 주루바디 로투 람케르스기디 다 쇼로바 주루바디 로투 람케르스도아 와다 테 간디시리 수수파 펜타는 오는잖아 술로 로 저와지 요르데 로 마제지 술라니 베 텔을 도데 너밖에 내긴지나 드니 미들라다 전주 세바게 삼로 간디시 당겨메 어떻게까지 시기어레스.
And so now we come to verse 16. And verse 16 says, if someone we love and have cared for with kindness, as an unselfish mother would cherish her child, should shun our devotion with thankless resentment and treat us as if we were his most hated foe. Seeing these acts as terrible sickness befallen our child and affected his mind, treat him with even more love and affection. The sons of Buddhas all practice in this way. And even if a person for whom you've cared like your own child regards you as an enemy, cherish him especially like a mother does her child who is stricken with sickness. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. So it says, even if a person for whom you've cared, or even if a person whom you've loved and cared with kindness, what this is talking about is whoever it is that you may have benefited. If somebody that you may have tried to help and benefit in your life then turns around to harm you, then how do we work with this? This is what this verse is concerned with.
자산다 오늘 삼례내서 통보지면나 네 삼당 두에 백하보래. 다둥 오늘 란진수 촌보 여건지기 때때 당보 로데이나 로게이나 때 배 오늘 라정인달라 또는 잠부자 거르잖아. 캔 삼르는 모습이 있던데 용 저기도 와서.
And so if we think about this, it's actually, to do this for someone, to regard someone as your own sick and ailing child, someone whom you've loved so much and helped so much, benefited so much, and then they turn around and hurt you, how then do we care for our very own ailing child? Well, again, this is something that is truthfully very, very, hard to work with. This is, a very hard situation to work with.
Zaki Pujin Chepar Kyamemi, Zalan Rajil Tower Jenayang, Naked Tabe Pula Majintu, La Prasava Galset Lalin Zide, Tendaway Nipe Nolan Nube King in Mitela, and Rangi Machi Be Pula Nipe Pudin Naina, Malakazuchi, Zedung Semna Kangal Tigri. Tena Jinji Jenene, Ratela Chawar Sidigala. 또서 ngaranzu lune masube 용거래. 띵의 뭐에서 란진진 슈초베기래. 다 신진진 슈촌부 영에 미지길 따나 니나 배전에 수나진지 따다 냠는지 두야지 자거래. 이것들 로정 세계 메시지 요래 단딘 잡어요래.
The karegi drabo
로정 세계 마기 지지요래 단디단 잡어되지. 강라자기 펜다페 레왁제와 간시지 신도 미리 너지나 생긴 담발 따오르셔 생긴 지기요래. 랑기 파 펜바트룹니 수 펜도 제알레 네바케 네바케게 미들 에네 랑기 게 생긴 나질 따오래 이제 어다 로정 튀게면 또 수어래. 강라다게 펜다베 레와차와 강지지 신도 미리 너지나 생긴 담발 따오르셔. 로정 튀게 말해. 로정 튀게 말.
Okay, so.
tonda chikbares si khaga chabar ma tonda pe chikbares samlo tang sang chikbare ta chanju sebe nyamlen che chikba cha de res te
Allah so. Di ni di sikche chunga dang dravore di songpe
sije judupa
chudupa dang dravore di chudupa di chunga pa dang ani chikpare songpe
mare sije judupa de ro da ki puji kyamre kyamwe mi se do mi chi la rangi puna jinji shebache ne champuche
laso
dal dindo champuche ke mi degi dalan rajin ne tagi na tanayang susu ngone chanju seba rangi kandiche gore ngaranju nyamlin chege mi degi karajo pa rangi pula ene be nana ta pe chewa legirwa pu nana pe magi be legirwa ani lepordo tele chewa che gore ndadela su pendo nobe kengendela pa pendo tumne su nobe kenge midela lepordo chewa che gore karchena ko nilu chi mashi bachine ko ene be mari be jamando sone ko ti chi gore ti indigala ko lepordo chewa che gore zo ota kachete che gore shiguranda
laso
they don't take lojon si gemade tonta chibare
laso. And so here in this verse, then when somebody who we have really taken under our care then turns around and harms us, if we ourselves are a person that has the attitude of self-concern, for us to do what it says in this verse again is to then take this person and treat them as our own child who is ill would be very difficult, but rather someone who has trained in putting others before selves would indeed be able to do this. And again, it's a little bit the same as in the verse when we talked about somebody deriding us in a public gathering, speaking negative words to us, and then perceiving them as a spiritual friend. Again, what we're doing is we're taking somebody who has given harm to us, and in return, we are giving thoughtfulness, consideration, and kindness. In this way, we think about, in this current verse, about if a mother's child were very sick, then she has great love and really cares, wants to heal that child, really gives that child special attention in return. And so in the same way, we do that within this own verse. As it says, we seeing these acts as a terrible sickness. We understand that the person has caused us harm out of their own negative mental state and their ignorance. And so we have compassion in this way and treat them as a mother would her ailing child.
수수 율레 뇨모 깨르 마주 왜나 삼로탄데 디나 펜도 첨부 온 거라 와다더니 답람지 에 가르쳐 두스체니 티 난거래 딘디가라 제주 두스체바이나 펜도 용구래 와다 두스체네 베잘로 야네양도로 삼로 야네양도 타 두스체나 텐데 에코 펜도지 용구래 삼고도 우시로와 아니 결혼스 티와 이네티와 당시 텐디린디가자 아니 Sholo ke chidum banin hafta jamade dijenas.
So it really will benefit us quite a lot through training in this way if the afflictive emotions don't arise in our mind streams when we meet with such a situation. The benefit of this is actually really great, that afflictive emotions won't arise. And this is actually a very it is really a great method of this path. It's really a great method for us to work with this instruction. And so Geshe says that he would like for us to read about this again and again, read different books, really think about this, and feels that we will benefit greatly through this. And we'll take some time for questions and answers, but so this was verse number 16, which was then taking a person for whom we've cared like our very own child who regards us as an enemy and cherishing them actually very specially. That was verse number 16, and now there's time for questions.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Got it. Oh, this. Jet. This also now. What happened? What? Is something wrong? What?
Hello?
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 Now?
We're setting up the other microphone, Diane.
Oh, I see, I see.
Yeah. That also.
Can you hear me, Diane?
Yes, I can hear you very, very well and
All
clearly.
right. Good, good. So you don't have to get too close to it. Just
So, Geshe-la, over the past several years, I feel like I've acquired a tremendous amount of scars as I've tried to do this. And I realize in looking backwards, I've progressed a little bit on the path, getting away from my immersion in my self-centeredness. I'm sorry, Diane. And I just want to see if it's a very gradual path, at least for me. And sometimes when I hear the teachings, it isn't clear to me. It sounds more like we should just do this and it happens. And to me and for me, that has not been true. It's taken, I know I'm old, so maybe that's part of the reason, but it's taken me many years, several years, to get even a little bit along this way of allowing or in taking those people that I feel like are injuring me from my past understanding and loving them and doing that. What has helped me also is to love myself, and learn how that I can't know how to do that, because even though I have maybe a Buddha inside me, it doesn't mean I was born as a Buddha in this life, nor will I be one when I die. But it's just, to me, the gradualness. And I think sometimes that needs to be reinforced a little bit. We need to, maybe from the teachers and from you, to say it takes a while to get there. So, but if you have any suggestions on how to treat those wounds that kind of feel like they are when we feel the arrows from other people, even though they're gifts.
Even if they were in the past or when they happen?
I don't even know if I got into the past yet. It's just present. It's probably about the last 5 years I've been, getting arrows.
So you mean when somebody, like right away when somebody harms you, or like the past arrows as well?
It happens right away, in the midst of that engagement, and then to reframe it, along the way. It's easier for me now to see them as great gifts, but that has not always been so. Maybe I've done more of the past work than I do at the present. Yeah, and oftentimes when it comes to me without expectation, without me seeing it coming, it's hard to shift that mind, that state of mind, at that point. Is that clear?
Okay.
Close to it?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can find out from Geshe-la's answer. So anyways, I'll share that with him. Ani Geshe-la nga di lo kashe nguna di dang robogi lo jong ani chea tupar che pa yin ani nga det siarge tang song det siarge tang song yin ayang jopo ani yarge tang ma song ngala di rang chin ani shen che le ani rang jin chewa yuetsang ani dets ani kale kapo chong ani nga di mi nerpa cheken ki ngala nerpa chena ani nga di solwa shuk champo yongi re nyomong shuk champo yongi re ani dedu kare chegore di kenangla ani kalop ani yorebe dela ani nga ani yarje ani dets tang song yena di rimgi di yarje di ani yongi yore di namgyun ki drotang yorebe kenang dela ani kalop yorebe Geshe-la
dire sirwa ditade toso ngaranzo penang rang jinjin shu chijung dang yen jinjin shu chung chijung la tugu are sirwa yen jinjin kazo shu che insi pejen shebana jin samten ten tan tugu are rang jinjin shu jumbo yana pejen shebana jin ji samtang tugu ya pe khabore tendi nekap tela ani 땅보다 랑규라 뉴몽 깨미 주야기 탑시 제데 컨트롤라 소바던데 랑미 주야 탑시 제데 시부 깨침버리스 간지 뉴몽 깨와이나 센디 풍고 단다 아니베 둥알지 되거래 디 남인디 깨와치마 둥알 뉴고래 경마다 캡상균이야 말이스
라소
간지 삼로 규라타네 랑기 뉴몽 깨마 주야데 시부지 깨체셔래 딘디갈라 파게니 장주기 삼종 제디 코라네 란진진 현 옌진진 연된저데 따고 따즈는 숭ung도 왔을 람림나라
라소
그래서 뺀네 내쳐버지 그뒤나 옌진진기 연된 이안이안도 삼당 거래 아니 전주 로스 전주 나라때 저 양양도 숭구도 왔어
And so it is as you've said that when we have this tendency to kind of put ourselves first, this really does affect the way we're able to react out there in the world to these negative situations. And it's said to whatever extent we put others first, we really consider others first, this will be easier. And to whatever extent we consider ourselves first and foremost, it will be more difficult. So the first thing as advice is that we need to look for a way to work with taming our afflictive emotions, so that our afflictive emotions are not arising and affecting us. For once the afflictive emotions arise, then necessarily we meet with difficulty. We meet with difficulty at that very time, as you have mentioned, but not only in this life, but this rising of afflictive emotions will affect us in our future life as well. And so how do we work with afflictive emotions so that they initially don't arise in these situations is to train in bodhicitta. And so we train in bodhicitta, and we also again and again look at the faults of self-cherishing and look at the benefits in putting others first. This is an extremely important point that we again and again emphasize, because it is such an extremely important point. And so we should always remember that. And reading the way of the Shanti Devas, the way of the Bodhisattva, this is exactly the content of the way of the Bodhisattva. So you should read and contemplate on that again and again.
Junju nana di sung doas, jiten zungal chinye pa, tigun zaden dolin chungsi. Jiten nana mi sunri jina zungal karajunga zara, za dewan dobala tene, eni zungal de chung reis. Jiten zewa chinye pa, tigun jenden dolin chungsi. Jiten nala nepe zewa kandeji chuyo wate, tamche jempen janju gisem, eni jen eni pe, jen chinzin le tene, eni zewa de chung reis. 망도시는 지지자세 투발 지바랑기 던지던 통화전기 던지비 닝인기는 개발도에서 송도 와서 전주나라 어떻게 로즈미 양도 삼당 거래스
아니 식체 타마델락 아니 건다
망도시는 지지자세 지바랑기 던지다 지바즈네 로야 중중랑 진진 삼당겐들라 지바세 아니 투왕 진던 바진제 인자 아니 Jenden chegende sangi sa chimbare randan jeganta dun khorene le diores di khabar del ta ures odate lozim ni amne da samadanda pendo yongres hakusan dena
di mangchewa di dunda kakosong di Sik any tagarang di chunju
ki gyuri jeda ngelabgo jogo kaya mare
laso ani di dunda kakosong di dunda kani
otendi gore
dunda kyona yeah dunda kakosong
oh that dere
and so then we have this suffering
the
that
chunju
we laso geshila
chunju gitires si de chunju
laso. And so when we have this emotions, then we meet with difficulty, we meet with suffering. And this very suffering is spoken of in the way of the Bodhisattva, that says that all of the suffering that we experience comes from the very self-cherishing attitude. And that all of the happiness in this life comes from the altruistic attitude that wishes to benefit others. And so, and that the source of Buddhahood is this. So then it also speaks of the immature beings and the mature beings, and the immature beings are those wandering in samsara, whereas the mature or the noble beings are. And so this is synonymous with those who, or the altruistic attitude is the meaning.
somba chumdan de lendo jene kaso tutu di jinden samdang tang tu yena jin jin che tu yena pejani chegin tanda di karsa kingen chan lam kherde du chundu was shologo chu odezo nyamlen che tu ya tenden yong gres
laso And so if we can just do the very best we can to remember to put others before self, or we could also call this the altruistic attitude, and also do as it says to the best of our ability in verse number 10, which reads, let me make sure I'm reading the translation you all have. So if we can work with verse number 10, then it is sure that we will be able to train in this way and progress along the path of the Bodhisattvas. And as it says in verse number 10, in each incarnation through all our lives, we have been cared for by others with motherly love. While these mothers of ours are still lost in samsara, how cruel to ignore them and free but ourselves. To save other beings through countless in number, to be free from their sorrow, these mothers of old produced bodhicitta, the wish to be Buddha. The sons of the Buddhas all practice this way. And so we too ourselves should look to practice in, Geshe-la says, in the way of verse number 10.
같이 양양도 진진기 파윤 삼루당데 빼 민습에 내지 모래자스.
Again, to remember again and again to regard others more importantly than oneself is a quintessential, it is an essential point.
라마 주변나라 랑이 진진 우박군기 로 오고서를 숨자스. 랑 진진기 로데 우바탐제기 싸와데 우바탐제기 주고선레지 랑 진진 로데레샤스 수수 빼 수수로 du nagu tenginde ran jinjin re sung du si manam jinjin yenden kunji jing zer sung res yenden tham jegi karchuki yenden tham jegi jugo de jen jinjin manam jinjin che de rezer ta chene sung do ate te ne chemboji mena te gyuni sung do khabo mares penjen lozan chugingi
Ani di lama ki tsen,
lama chopa guru puja.
Oh, okay, Lasso. So again, think about this again and again, and understand that the root of difficulty, the root of suffering, is self-cherishing, whereas the source of all the Buddhas is the altruistic mind. And as it says within the Guru Puja, that all the qualities, actually, all good qualities come from cherishing others as our kind mothers. It is the source.
Question?
Does anyone else have any questions?
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Good to see you. It's just like you're here.
Same here.
Up to the point where one does themselves harm, is that possibly? I'm wondering. I just keeps going through my head. How are we going to help others if we've allowed ourselves to be destroyed by being too altruistic? I believe the Buddha taught that. Am I wrong about that or not?
I didn't quite get the question. If we cause ourselves harm?
Yeah, up to the point. I mean, we can be altruistic to others up to a point.
I see.
And at a point, it becomes self-destructive. Therefore, that's not going to benefit anybody.
I see.
I think that might be what Barbara was talking about. I don't know, maybe. Oh, the other scars. Well, she was talking about scars. You know, I'm thinking about myself, of course, because I am the center of the universe.
Okay. Ani Geshe-la di ani kandrishu de re ani di nerpa cheken ki di how to say dangdulen di lam du kerna ani tamala ani di ngone konso di nerpa ani pe shuk chempo ngatso la ani che tupki ore ani ngatso la di nerpa di ani lenne ani maungpala ngatso di mi shandak ani kandres pentogi ore di tangpo di nerpa chicken chiki legape ani shuk champo chene ngatso la nerpa ngone ani yuna mau ani ngatso di maumpa la kandres mi shendak ani shenla ani shendrup che tuki yore kandres che tuki yore nerpa ngone sap champo yuna
다티
ngatso di
가짜도 꼽았다고 해 자기가 레스로와
la
가짜도 꼽아 가짜 꼽아 슈치 중을 때니 냠는 제레스 양 빼저는 수원하지 강가빼 경카란 게 렘바다 야가전하고 와다 세 존지 디 야지게 담바 경랑 게랭 레야데 미젤란 너첩 전부 매지 네바다 랑치포라 연구였나 디 경 차상 캐거라 있어 다
laso
미 파조들라 수수 저박없네 미 파조들 냠빌 랑쇼르제니 미 망불 경라기나 델라니베 에 양전지 세박이 에 파조들라니베 디 가르소고래 펜셈 군네라네 에네 코나 오 디디 마르다 디디리즈네 세시제고 때네 용거레스
laso yina ngatso di sokla tukna yang penandi nerpa chicken ki ngatso di sokla ani sokla tukna yang koso di samsamla ani ngatso ki lula ani nerpa chaya di ngatso di lula ani nena maungpala pena ngatso la menkang la ani drogo yuna dine kandras mi shandak la ani maungpala ropa che tupkire
오
di
데디
dang drabore
바기 빼 우른데는 내데다 좀 된데게 승구요 말에 전주 세바에서 승구요 말에서와 또 파조디기 쫑들한 집을 당기였나 아니 근데 너섭 전부 저기 매제대 랑징불을 쫑 당기 팅에 말아라서 봤더니 저기였나 되게 쫑게 거래서 랍 거래 대마인 바 수수로 부야는 뭐쫑 라기였나 딱으로 왔다 바기 빼 강가 군대과에 말와 인지민지 랭자과야 요마로와 아니 소소 가르 답시 전다 가르쳐야도 에인 가자 지중을 다 거래 가자 체대 가자 첨부 고바 춘춘지나 가자도 조제 거래 가자도 춘춘지 고바 첨부이나 고바도 조제 거래 어디 때줄 다 거래 때주야 남쳤던 두고 거래스
laso so actually, whatever harm, according to the practices of bodhisattvas, it's whatever harm, no matter how severe someone may cause to us, we may, meet with. We need to meet it in return with patience and actually willingly take it on in the wish to benefit them, and there's no need for our retaliation in any way. If we're talking about the way of the bodhisattva, then this is the way that they would take this on. Now, if you'd like me to re-ask if there's physical harm to us and then we can't be out in the world helping in any way, I can continue to clarify your point if you'd like, but this was Geshe-la's answer.
Yeah, I understand what I was saying something else, I think, maybe.
Okay.
Is that what you're referring to?
If so,
I mean, I
if
understand what you're saying there. If you get run over by a truck, you don't need to get mad at the truck, but there's a point where if you have control, I'm just wondering if it's wise to expose oneself to excessive harm to the point where it will cause oneself damage. I'm not talking about physical even, I'm talking about emotional, psychological, all that good stuff too. So I just
okay. Yeah, I can reiterate that. Ani Geshe-la, nadi lam ya hello Geshe-la.
Yeah.
Ani yena yang ani nga di kerangi kalop di nga hago song. Yena yang nga yanker di nerpa chicken ki nerpa di dang du lana maung pala nga ngone nerpa ni yongi yama ani yongi ani yena yongi mena ngone chena nga yanker nerpa di lam du ker dang du len ani tamala ani ngone chena nga ani ngala dungal yongi yorepe ngala nerpa yang ngone yongi yorepe yamena penta yongi re
그 하게 장주 세바도 배전이 세바나지 냠nen제니 좀 된데이나 장주 배전이 세바나지 냠nen제는 상기 사지 말이지 ngaranzuina 그 배전이 세바나지 냠nen자마도 란진지 왕데 너는 너빈 잘니 맞아 단단 디블레데 걔나 남쳤던 다 하고 그래스
Basola. And so the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas actually can do just as we're speaking of, continually carried on the path, willingly take it on, and in return give benefit. However, if we're talking about ourselves or oneself, then one needs also to understand one's level or, one's point that they can willingly, carry that on the path.
배전은 아주 뚜루나 지집은 되더라 뚜루다 라냐 소리 지네 파차 아즈는 추배 실자의 연구도 와서 뚜루다 라냐 라바 투사미도 와서 때나 진진의 랑진진기 공부진데네 아주 단다 둥알디나 룽데어래 따단 룽데어래 아니 마우바나 때는 룽구에나 어 랑진진 냠는 지기레스 띵가나 졸라파레스 아니
디 룽세나
룽세나 자파 룽아 hold on
룽아
자파 nganson sumla lungwa simde ode
laso
dungalji gyapsona ngaso lungde ore ranjinjin katinla taduyan dungal gan thartab mache che thartab che tapside pejen sungyo de nyamlen che adres tella ngaso che damga jinda yo mares
So within the text, actually, it's said that, this is the way we are to work with this, and this is the advice and instructions on practice with working with the putting others before self. And because the result of not doing so according to the text is then to, for example, fall to the lower realms, that our negative actions will bring us to the lower realms, and actually they're the oral instructions, the oral instructions are just like this. There's no alternative version of the oral instructions in this regard.
I just wanted to just tell him he knows me. I'm always looking for loopholes,
아니 게셀라 아니 게 아니 페나 케랑 아니 켄사레 켄 하코사레 예나양 나 페나 나디 조클람 아니 드로더 요레 아니 디 조클람 페나 나디 디 뉴람 디페 조클람 chego래 ngadi ngone chena ngone chegore be yamena di tapshenda yore be di lelawa di tap lelawa yore be ani durken yore
tati 탑 lelabu yore kabu yore za susugi zundi res susu ngone zosem yabo zundi yabo yona gyopa chagre susu lelo wando chanani gyopa sengli ngilam da yigi mare sang duse
So actually, whether this becomes if you get this kind of shortcut or a fast way of accomplishing something, it really does depend on yourself. And actually, you could turn this into kind of a shortcut or a fast path due to the level of your diligence and your patience. It could become the shortcut or the fast path.
lelo le kyopchel ge na kena ring run degi deke ngaran to kanga tanda por lelo kyopchel nderes
Not a chance in hell, but he's told me that before.
Gonda keshela. Gonda kyanker kale la sonang tela.
pena lelo le kyopchel na ngazo kanga tadung short chidaraya khra yo mares lelo gi ta
Oh,
short
yes,
gun tangayom tangsa marisigdus samgdus.
that's so actually for I get for the lazy person, I don't think the shortcut will actually cut it. I don't think there is a shortcut or a way out.
준비 고대가 종강 갈라 좋아하고 그래 대승샤 전주나라 텐도 캬는 전주로던 때는 빼야 버렸어. 전주나라
However,
삼에
for-
끼고서 그랬어.
However, for the diligent one who would like to engage with enthusiasm, then the path is similar. It would be like the one that is spoken of in the way of the Bodhisattva.
결혼지지 말다 가서 강가 되네 여긴 강가래서 나랑이나 릴레왕도 짜이나 다둥 갈범 분라만 코로나 내고 찍으래 또 배전에 쉐베지는 냠는 제바이나 semna deki tegiri maupana jopre wa jaye ores
Jopala, Maupala,
Ora-
Kare Sumpe?
tengi jide sangi kopang zene rewa jaye ji yore samgudus
Oh. But I don't want you to think you're the only one. Even for a lazy one like me who doesn't engage, diligently in this way, I will also need to stay for hundreds of kalpas in samsara. However, there is the short path, the path that is sure to bring us to the state of Buddhahood.
Thank you. Sorry.
tadung tsapa tsugu mes
Do you still want to debate about this? Do you want further debate?
You can't stump this monk, is what
Yeah,
I
what is it about?
found out years ago.
di tsapa pe yabore di tsu yabores ngazu nilu chegi arte yabores
Actually, when we debate these points, it's really good. It's really good to debate these things. Like here we are looking at laziness. It's good to debate these things.
Oh, someone would they ask me something? What?
No, Angela would like the microphone to ask a question.
Oh, here.
I believe that His Holiness say that in order for us to practice the path, and of course there's many methods to do that, but basically it comes down to practicing sutra, and then the later on further down the path is the Vajrayana path. But then lately, just recently, that His Holiness also mentioned about in order for us to learn tantric path well, we have to know sutra as well. So, but I understand that practicing sutra take long time. So is that contradicting the tantric path is the quick path, but we also have to know sutra. So how much a sutra path should we know? If we have to know it, if we have to know sutra path well, then would that be contradicting that it will take us a long time to get through that until we can get into the quick path? So what is the right way to analyze that?
Ani Gyalwa Rinpoche ki ani lamla nyamblan chena ani di tap pe mampo yore. Yena yang kare che gerpa de la nganso di tangpo di do gilam pe ani yapo chene ani hako gore yapo chene nyamblan che gore. Ani de je ani dine je la nganso di panadis ani sanga ki takpa. pena di takpa champo yang nyamlen chena ani digire yina thangpo ngaso di dogi lam di takpa chungwa ani hakogore nyamlen chegore yena yang ani tengsang gyabo rinpoche ki ngaso di ngak di gi nyamlen che di nyolam re di nyolam de ani nyamlen chene ngaso pena drebu topkiore ani di gi kalop di gyabo rinpoche ki kalop di galwa yorebe ani kerangi gongsula gesela kerangi gongsula ngaso di do di ani katsu ani hakogore do di gi derpagi nangla ani katsu hakogore katsu nyamlen chegore ngaso di ngak gi lam ani majuk ngonna do katsu ani hakogore
do katsu hakogore ze ke maresirwa nga ge nyamnen chebala chanjugi semla 세부자 하마가 전주기 셈 군소스 전주기 셈다 돈냄 전주기 셈니 요래 대니가 양따바자 하마콜라 나가 냠는 지당에 코나요 말에
맞어
아니 말자메 총기부터 집어지 양래 되니 수능 걸어져 있냐가요 대균이 나이나데 가버스게 메스
카리케메
나이낭 도 지마지진 마셔봐제 나가 냠는 제대 가버스게 메스 동원이 장에기 놀람데서 너니 셰베 장주기 셈당 군소 생계당 돈담 장주기 셈님 야보 동이 또벨 따와다 장주기 셈니라페 냠는 야보지 제투나 되니 상하가 냠는 제나 되니 좋아요를 마사테마다 가버레스
맞어 so it really doesn't come down
쌀메겐지 로와 때는 니니지레스 민균이 짤메겐지 라둠지 짜란자는 자투그르베스 도냠는 제데 미 짤첸 에네 라파탕나 요겐지 짜란자가데 지버지경레스 아니 미 돌은 냠네 마체겐데 미 라둠 짤메교 짜란자가데 지버레데 강야가도 캐날 타기레스
okay di pe tangpo
pe tangpo de do 냠네 야보 장주기 셈당 동이 장주기 셈다 동이 또벨 따와라 빼 야보지 장제 러츠지 하고 찌만지지 하고니 공에 미데 에네 라바탕당 루이 쌀용에 탈란자데 지바레 탈란자에데 ngalam 소리지 아니 딩이 마셰버제네니 상알 주웨이나 밀라둠 쌀메지 탈란자가데 지바레스 티 카레야가도 기랄타스
So actually it doesn't come down to how well studied and well knowledgeable we are of the sutras or how well practiced we are within the sutras, but rather it comes down to our understanding of both relative and ultimate bodhicitta. It comes down to our actual experience in relative and ultimate bodhicitta. For if we are well developed and experienced in our way, then this can be like this fast tantric path, like this quick path of practice. And so it's this understanding of relative bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, as well as our understanding of emptiness that prepares us for a practice of to be able to progress along the path, not how much or little we know within the sutras. We can take someone, for the person who does not have an understanding of the twofold bodhicitta and of emptiness, it is like the one who climbs the mountain with no fingers. And however, one with the twofold bodhicitta and an understanding of emptiness with that experience is like the mountain climber who has the hands, the fingers, the full gear is well exercised, rapidly climbing the mountain. So which is better? You look at those two situations and it's your choice, which is better. So I don't know, could you hear me? Any
Yeah,
Cindy
yeah.
Duguay again?
Ganga meditation now.
Thank you very much.
Everything consultation
Oh.
now.
I wonder though, everyone, is it okay if we finish now because I have something at 2:30? I mean, I'm sorry, it's like 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. It's that maybe you're 5:30.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Tanda sana ni digituge gananga
No,
di
didu.
lega
now didu.
lasso.
Tang
Okay,
watu
go back.
dicho.
Obama
Karsa.
Zorok. Lasso.
Dedication. No, thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. I wish you a good rest of your week and good
Thank
week. I'll
you.
see you next week.
Yeah.
Okay, geshe tushina.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Kalipeko. Okay, lasso.
Okay, bye-bye. Kari rawe kurwe jingam pendant de wa malun join. Jere ziwan tenzin gyatso. Jabe side bardo tengyuroji. Jambal pawe childra kemba. Kundo zambo teyan tejindo. Teta kungi jizo dalo. Gewan deda tamje rabdo ngon. Dizum shabe gyawa tamje. Ngon gangla chodo ngapa dan dajin gewe tsawan di kun. Zambo jeje rabdo ngon.